Hi everyone. Thanks for helping us celebrate Mundi's 1 year anniversary, her rebirth day. This celebration is so important for all of us. There's so many of you, thousands of you, who have followed Mundi actually for decades and shown your support for her and your love for her. So I'm glad that you participated in this today. So I'm going to go through, we got lots and lots of questions. And what I'm going to look at first is there were multiple people who asked basically the same question. So I'm going to cover that. And I'm going to start with, I think the number one concern that people had was, question says, what language is spoken to Mundi? What does she understand? So Mundi, of course, was born in Africa, and she spoke African elephant. That was her first language. And then she came to Florida. And in Florida, they speak English. So she learned English. And then she moved to the island of Puerto Rico, and she learned Spanish. So she's multilingual. So here we speak to her in English, but mostly it's body language. You know, elephants communicate in ways beyond just the verbal word. They use body language, they use rumbles, trumpets. They have different ways of speaking, but between them, the people, and her, we speak English, but mostly we just look at her body language, she watches our body language, and so the communication is really through that. So thanks for asking that question. The next one is, how is Mundi handling the cold weather? And I think it's really important for everyone to understand we are not in Atlanta, Georgia. We are at Adaptation, Georgia. So Atlanta is cold in the wintertime. Adaptation is not. We are in the southernmost southern part of the state. We're right on the line of Florida. We're we're probably about 15 miles north of Tallahassee. And our winters are incredibly mild, to the point that elephants don't stay in the barn for any length of time. And when it does get cold in the winter for a couple of months, the cold happens in 2 hours before the dawn. So the temperature slowly drops throughout the night. It's still comfortable, it's still considered warm. And then maybe at 5 in the morning, the temperature will drop where it's a little chilly to us. The elephants still stay outside. So there were only 3 times this winter that the elephants came inside the barn because they thought it was cold. So during that time, they spend a few hours inside, all of them together, free access. And then if it is chilly, like if it is below 35 degrees and it's going to be that way for 3-4 hours, we do close the elephant door so that the heaters, they can utilize the radiant heat from the heaters. So not to worry, it's not cold here. It's actually very warm. So that was the second most important question that people wanted to know. Someone else asked, how much weight has she gained? And Mundi has not gained any weight. As a matter of fact, we were hoping that she would drop a little bit. Mostly what she had, what looked like she was quite round, was she was bloated because she got so much produce and not enough self-directed exercise. So she was kind of full of gas. So she's not anymore. You can see she puts in miles a day. She puts in so many miles a day. Another question, let's see. There was a question about her caregivers and would she recognize them if they came. Her caregivers from Puerto Rico, and of course she would recognize them. They were family to her. But what actually turned out to be a good thing for Mundi is while she was still in Puerto Rico and I was there, her keepers decided to not come around anymore. So she kind of went through that break, that separation, while she was still in Puerto Rico, which actually was good for us and good for her. So that when she did get here to her new home, she wasn't missing or mourning those people because they had already showed her that they, had pretty much left her life. So she would recognize them, but she's not pining for them. So let's see. Let's look for another one here. Now, a lot of you have asked, how difficult it was for Mundi to adapt to this new life, autonomy, freedom, all this space, needless to say, other elephants. And anyone would assume that it might be difficult. And we were prepared for her to demonstrate to us, if this was going to be hard or not and how long it was going to take. And instead, the very first day, when she saw the other elephants, she ran to the fence that was dividing them. She just lunged her trunk over and touched all over them. It was obvious that she was not intimidated by them, and she wasn't trying to be aggressive to them. She wanted to be with them. And actually, we were kind of surprised, but 35 years alone. But then again, she had a short time in the wild with a real elephant family. So she learned a lot of elephant lessons, and she developed some relationships with those elephants. And so when she saw other elephants, I laughed and said, Bo, is so big, he's 10.5 feet tall, and he has ivory. Now, Mundi's mom would have had ivory because female African elephants have long ivory. And I laughed and said, when she saw Bo from far away, she thought it was mom, and she ran up to him. Well, later she would know it wasn't mom. But they made friends. It was instant. It was instantaneous. And that has to do with her personality, her need of wanting to be with elephants and not being afraid, and Bo and Tarra, who were very willing to welcome her into the family. They were very kind to her, gentle to her. And so it was pretty astonishing how quickly they all just came together and were a family already. Another question that people keep asking, and I think this is really important to understand, is the question is, Mundi is 42 years old, which means she's still fertile and she could get pregnant. So people are asking, can she get pregnant? She should get pregnant. And the reality is, any sanctuary struggles to give elephants the best life possible. And we're in a position, more than a zoo, to really put the elephants first, put their needs first, because we're not open to the public. So this can be all about the elephants. But even in a sanctuary setting, in captivity, I don't believe elephants are getting what they deserve and what they need. This is a wild animal living a captive life. So we would never breed an elephant, because we don't want to be responsible for bringing a baby elephant into captivity to have to live out its entire life in captivity, which brings us to the age of elephants, the longevity of an elephant. So you'll read in some places that 42 years old is old for an elephant. Oh, no. Longevity and lifespan are two different things. So longevity is the longest that an individual of that species has lived. Okay? In Asia, captive held elephants that are documented, their age is documented, live into their 80s and beyond. And it's not unusual. That's common for them to live that long. So we'd say the longevity of an elephant is 80 years. But the lifespan of a captive held elephant is very different. So the lifespan is, how long do they usually live? And research shows that they have about half the life expectancy as a wild elephant. So that is why you'll read and hear institutions state that an elephant is old at 42, where actually they're middle age at that time. So that's another reason not to keep elephants in captivity, because we shorten their life. So let's see. And this is so cute. What is Mundi's personality? Where there are hundreds of you that know Mundi so well because you went to the zoo and saw her, met her there, and she's funny. She's very strong. She's self-confident. She is independent, but not independent where she wants to be by herself. Okay? She is adventurous. She's not afraid of things. I mean, she's really not. I haven't seen her be afraid of anything. But she's also with two other elephants, so she doesn't need to be afraid. You know. So her personality is strong, and she's she has a healthy sense of self, which is great. All right, let's go to the next page. And again, they're asking about the chilly air. It's not chilly in Adapolgus, Georgia. A lot of people are mistaken and think that we're in Atlanta. We're not. And Atlanta is cold, but Adapolgus is not. All right, her favorite snacks. What are her favorite snacks? Well, she likes anything, any kind of fruit, you know, sweet fruit. Most elephants are that way. She also likes her supplement ball. And the supplement ball has all kinds of vitamins and minerals, vitamin E. It has turmeric in it, has cosequin for her joints. It has all kinds of these additives for healthy nail, hair, skin. And I roll it all up into a baseball, a softball size ball. And she just plops it in like a big piece of candy. She's very... And another thing that we notice about Mundi, which is different from Bo and Tarra, is from day one, Mundi would eat a lot of trace mineral salt. That's a product that we put out. The elephants can eat, it's free choice. They can eat as much as they want. And usually what happens is when the trace mineral salt, of course, ups their minerals, which is necessary for health of each cell. And so when they arrive, they usually eat a lot of the trace mineral salt because they're short on minerals. And then once they have built up the amount of mineral that they need, then they just take a tiny bit every day, like just a pinch. But so Mundi, for the first 9 months, was eating about a half a cup of this a day, every day. And so if you're watching her on the EliCam, we have special trays that we've attached to the pole next to the waterer. And what she likes to do is we put the trace mineral salt in dry. It's loose salt. We put it in the tray. She comes over and she sucks up some water out of the water trough, and then she puts just the amount of water that she wants with that salt, and she mixes it up, and then she drinks it. It's so cute. Oh yeah, so she knows how to take care of herself. It's wonderful. All right, so broken tusk, hole in her ear, and her blind eye. All three of those things happened when she was little, before she got to Puerto Rico. So the hole in her ear is from a tusk from another elephant that attacked her and stabbed her ear with her tusk, and slammed her. So I don't know if he slammed her against a wall or against the ground, but made a hole through the ear, blinded the downside eye, so the opposite eye, and damaged the sulcus, which is where the tusk is. It's a socket for the tusk. Damaged it to the point that she'll never grow ivory. She'll never grow a tusk on that side. Now, it's not infected. There's nothing wrong with it. She just won't have a tusk there. Her blind eye is not completely blind. She can see a little bit, but it's cloudy. It's a little cloudy. So we make sure if we're coming around on that side or something's going on that side, we talk so that she hears, and she might not be startled by it. So those injuries are old, and she's lived with it, and she's fine with it. So it's no concern. No need to be concerned about that. Okay, so we talked about her favorite snacks. We did talk about, and I just dropped my paper with the last stuff on it. Okay. So how long did it take Mundi to adapt to the new environment and all the changes that the refuge represented? So that would be a big open space, freedom to make all of her own decisions, autonomy. She's an adult. She can decide for herself what she wants to do and when she wants to do it. She never had that in her life. Most captive elephants have never had that right in their life. And the big open space, which many times with an elephant coming from a zoo that has not experienced big open spaces, they have to get used to all of it because it looks way too big. Mundi just dove in 100%. She just was there, and she didn't go off on her own, but she would get Bo to follow her, she'd get Tarra to follow her, and she'd go all these places. And eventually she started following Tarra, because Tarra is the one that goes way deep into the habitat, and she followed Tarra, and I know that she did. How do I know? Because there was Mundi manure way back in the habitat, which means she was back there with Tarra, which is really a very good thing. So all in all, Mundi did surprise us by how well she did, how quickly she adapted. But I really think it is that she wanted to. She wanted this. And the last thing I'll leave you with is lessons. Someone asked, what kind of lessons is she learning and teaching? And of course, she taught Bo and Tarra how great a mud spa was. They had not really enjoyed that before, and Mundi has shown them how fabulous that is. But one thing that she learned that was just amazing to watch is in the beginning, when food would come, she would try and get Bo out of the way, and she wanted to get to the food first, and he let her do it, and he let her do it, and then you could see it was shifting a little bit, and he was getting to the food first, and so we started this pattern where she would learn we feed Bo first, we feed Mundi second, and then Tara third. So that was going well, but what Mundi would do is when the food wagon would come out, she'd run up to Bo and get all excited and run around him and then stand in front of him and block him and wouldn't let him walk to his food. And then the next thing we see, he never touched her, he never got angry with her, he never pushed her, but he must have talked to her. Because then what she does now, when the food is coming, she runs up to him, she gets all excited, she spins in circles, she gets in front of him, and then she steps right behind him and just follows him to the food. It's the sweetest thing. And the only way that can happen is if she wants to. She wants to be his friend. She wants to do the things that he wants her to do, and that makes for a very cohesive relationship. So thank you so much for your continued love and support of Mundi. She feels it, I'm sure. And I hope that you spend the day on Facebook on Sunday on her birthday, on her rebirth day, and her anniversary, and engage in all the activities that we have lined up throughout the day. Thank you so much. Bye.